Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'll be sharing with you my December reading plans. So if you want to know what I'll be reading in December, please stay tuned. And I am back, and also if you're new to my channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. So like I said before, I'll be sharing with you my December reading plans. I find this to be very ambitious even for me, but I think that I can get through them all before the year is over, because these are also books that I want to read before the year is over. They've been on my they've been on my shelves for a while. These are books that have come out this year in 2021, so I figured this is the best time as any to read them and to give my review about them. So the first book that I'm going to be reading is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. This, I believe, is her debut book that that just came out this year. And one thing that I loved about this book and that I wanted to read it is just the cover. The cover got me, and I think I need to get into, I read a lot of romance in November, but I want to read more some Black romance, some Black love. So I felt like this will be the perfect book for that. So let me go ahead and read the synopsis for this book. So it says, Quinn keeps list of everything from the days she's ugly cried to things that I would never admit out loud, and all the boys she'd like to kiss. Her list keeps her sane by writing her fears on paper. She never has to face them in real life. That is, until her journal goes missing. An anonymous account posts one of her lists on Instagram for the whole school to see and blackmails her into facing 7 of her greatest fears, or else her entire journal will go public. Quinn doesn't know who to trust. Desperate, she teams up with Carter Bennett, the last known person to have her journal, in a race against time to track down the blackmailer. Together, their journey through everything Quinn's been too afraid to face, or excuse me, let me repeat that. It says, together they journey through everything Quinn's been too afraid to face. And along the way, Quinn finds the courage to be honest, to live in the moment, and to fall in love. So this definitely sounds amazing. Like I said, this is, you know, Black love, Black romance. I definitely want some of that in December. So I thought this would be a perfect book to read in December. So this is the first book that I do plan on reading in December. The next book that I plan on reading in December, I was trying to fit it into reading it in November, but it just didn't work out. So I'm definitely going to be moving it into just my December's reading plans. And that is Blood Like Magic by LaSalle Samberry. She also has her second book for this that will be coming out next year as well, so I definitely want to read this before the year is over. But yeah, I was planning on reading this in November, and just a lot of things started happening, and so I was like, you know what, there's no way I'm gonna finish this book in time, you know, before the end of November. So I'm like, let me go ahead and transfer this book back into my December reading plans. So this is another book that I do plan on reading in December, and it's very chunky too, so it might be maybe one of the first books or last books that I'll be reading in December. So we have this one. Next book, this is my Fairy Loot edition, but I keep hearing a lot of great things about this book, and this is a new series by her. So I wanted to read this, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. She has written the Caraval series. I heard a lot of pros and cons about that series, so I wanted to step into a new series. And so, yeah, but the cover is definitely beautiful. Fairy Loot has done an incredible job with their exclusive covers, and the sprayed edges and stenciled edges is amazing. So let me go ahead and read the synopsis for this one. So it says, never make a deal with a fate. It says, for as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in happily ever after, until she learns that the love of her life is about to marry another, and her dreams are shattered. Desperate to stop the wedding and heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she's learned that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. So I'm all about happily ever afters. I'm all about love and danger and stuff like that. So this sounds very cute. And even on the back it says, how far would you go for happily ever after? So yeah, this is a must read for me. I have to, because this is my first book by Stephanie Garber, and so hopefully I will get a great experience reading this. So this is another book that I'll be planning on reading in December. Next book, this was one of my anticipated reads of the year, and I just did not get to it, and I thought that, yep, I need to get to it now. And that is A Reaper of Souls by Rena Barron. She has also written Kingdom of Souls, which is the first book of the series, and this is the second book, and then her third book comes out next year. So I was like, okay, I got to keep up so I don't get behind with this series. But I do love this, and even on the cover it says, power is a gift and a curse, and the cover is beautiful as well. So let me read the synopsis for this one. So it says, the magic Aura wanted for so long is finally hers, but her new gifts came at too steep a price. Aura is the last surviving witch doctor of the tribal lands, and she has been left alone to pick up the pieces of her family's betrayal, a kingdom plunged into chaos, and a love that can never be. But as she struggles to rebuild, Aura discovers a glimmer of hope. There may be survivors who escape the demon's attack on the tribes, and with her new magic, she is the only one who can bring them home. While Aura seeks what is left of her people, her beloved Roderick is intent on hunting down every last demon in the kingdom. Instead, he uncovers a plot that would destroy what's left of their world, and Aura with it. The Demon King is far closer than they know, and as they both fight to unravel his schemes, one haunting truth emerges. The Demon King wants Aura, and he will lay waste to anything or anyone standing between them. So this is really good. Like, Kingdom of Souls was amazing. Like, I did a whole review about the book and everything when it came out, which it came out in 2019. So I definitely want to read this and know more about Aura, Roderick, their forbidden love, and then go from there. But this sounds really great, and so I'll definitely be reading this in December. Next book, which also is an anticipated read of this year, it came out I think a month or two ago, and I definitely want to read this. I do also have the audiobook. I think with these books, so you definitely want to read the audiobook because the words are very small, but the story is amazing. And that is Descendants of the First by Rennie K. Amayo. This is the second book of her series. The first book is right here, Daughters of Enri, and so the series continues, and the cover is gorgeous. So we have this, and then I'll read the synopsis for this one. And so it says, the king is dead, and with him the last thread holding the kingdom together. Deep cracks are forming throughout the kingdom of Enri, with whispers of deadly successors lurking beneath the shadows. Despite having the same face, it seems the deepest crack is forming between Nala and Sinai, the reunited twin goddesses who must put their differences aside as they travel through a broken Enri. As ongoing turmoil spreads throughout the kingdom, the daughters of Enri must unmask the true face of their enemy, as they discover that their unique blood has destined them to either save or destroy their kingdom. But with beasts lurking far and wide, will they be able to choose the right path before the kingdom succumbs to its looming curse? Descendants of the First is a thundering sequel to Rennie K. Amayo's epic feminist young adult fantasy, Daughters of Enri. So yes, I definitely look forward to reading this, but like I said, like I'll let you know, like the font is very small. So I do have this on audiobook. So I do plan on listening to the audiobook for hybrid reading as well. So as I'm listening to the audiobook, I will be reading along. So that's what hybrid reading is, just in case if you didn't know that. But yes, so this is another book that I do plan on reading in December. Next book is another anticipated read. This is the final book of the duology, and that is A Psalm of Storms and Silence by Roseanne A. Brown. This was on my radar for a while. I really thought, like, why was it coming out so late? But then again, there's been so many setbacks and so many dates that have changed because of COVID and stuff like that. So I get why some releases were pushed back, or they were just released later on in this year in 2021. But this is Roseanne A. Brown's second book, and this is the final book of the duology. And the cover is beautiful. I do love that. But let's go ahead and read synopsis for this one, because I really want to know, usually when it's a duology, you're like, it could have been a little bit longer, but we'll see. We'll see. I haven't heard a lot of things about this book this year, so I don't know if many people have read it or they just didn't like the first book, so they didn't want to read this one. I'm not sure, but I'm going to definitely read it. So for the synopsis, it says, Karina lost everything after a violent coup left her without her kingdom or her throne. Now the most wanted person in Saint-Denis, her only hope of reclaiming what is rightfully hers, lies in a divine power hidden in the long-lost city of her ancestors. Meanwhile, the resurrection of Karina's sister has spiraled the world into chaos, with disaster after disaster threatening the hard-won peace Malik has found as Ferret's apprentice. When they discover that Karina herself is the key to restoring balance, Malik must use his magic to lure her back to their side. But how do you regain the trust of someone you once tried to kill? As the fabric holding Saint-Denis together begins to tear, Malik and Karina once again find themselves torn between their duties and their desires. And when the fate of everything hangs on a single, horrifying choice, they each must decide what they value most. A power that could transform the world, or a love that could transform their lives. So definitely looking forward to reading this, and it definitely sounds something epic for this to be the last book, which is why it's probably so huge. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading this. It definitely sounds good. It definitely makes me want to know more about Karina and Malik's relationship. So we do have this one that I will be planning on reading in December. And then there's another big chunker of a book that I'll be reading, because I definitely want to read this book, and then I've caught up with the series, and that is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Yeah, you're like, oh, seriously, another Sarah J. Maas fan? I get it. I get it, but I do love her books. They're very steamy and whatnot. And literally all through this year, I've been reading the ACOTAR series. And now that once I read this, I'll finally have caught up. And then I'm really debating if I'm going to be reading her adult fantasy book of the first book, Crescent City, or I don't know if that's the series or whatever, but Crescent City, and then her second book of her adult series will be coming out next year in February. So I'm really deciding if I want to start that. I'm not far behind, so I could read Crescent City in January and read the second book in February. So who knows? But I definitely, once I read this, I'll be caught up with the ACOTAR series. This huge book came out earlier this year, so I definitely want to read this because this is following Lord, I can't remember her name, Nessa and Cassian, I believe. So this is them on the cover. And then let me go ahead and read the synopsis for this book. So it says, an unfathomable power, Nesta Arcurian has always been prickly proud, swift to anger and slow to forgive. And ever since being forced into the cauldron and becoming high fae against her will, she struggled to find a place for herself within the strange, deadly world she inhabits. Worse, she can't seem to move past the horrors of the war with Highborn and all she lost in it. The one person who ignites her temper more than any other is Cassian, the battle-scarred warrior whose position in Ryzan and Farah's night court keeps him constantly in Nesta's orbit. But her temper isn't the only thing Cassian ignites. The fire between them is undeniable, and it only burns hotter as they are forced to work closely together. Meanwhile, the treacherous human queens who returned to the continent during the last war have forged a dangerous new alliance, threatening the fragile peace that has settled over the realms, and the key to halting them might very well rely on Cassian and Nesta facing their haunting past. Against the sweeping backdrop of a world seared by war and plagued with uncertainty, Nesta and Cassian battle monsters from within and without as they search for acceptance and healing in each other's arms. So this sounds very good, but I will say the book is huge. So who knows how long, how much, I don't know. But I'm going to read this book this month. I am going to read it because I do want to finish this series, before the next book comes out, if there even is a next book for the ACOTAR series. But yeah, this is a huge book, and obviously a ambitious reading plans December TBR deal that I have going on in December, but I plan on getting through it. I do plan on reading these books, so hopefully I will do so. And then last but not least, the final book that I'll be reading in December is Will by Will Smith. I will be buddy reading this book with my sister, my husband, and my brother-in-law. I want to read Will's book because I have always been intrigued with his life. You know, with my generation, he's known for me as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and my sister, she knows him even more than you know, more in depth of him because she's 12 years older than me, so she might have even more of a deeper connection as far as who Will is to her. But to me, he's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and so he's a lot of things, you know, and all of his roles and all his movies is a bad boy, and there's a lot that he's that he's been in. So I really am intrigued and to know about his story. We've been hearing a lot of things on the media, especially with his relationship with Jada, his father that he calls Daddy-O, and you know, his relationship with his children, especially his firstborn son, as you know, as he was developing his career. That's when he had a son, and a lot of things started clashing. And then it comes, you know, and then after that, it comes with a divorce and him trying to find out how to be the best dad he can be and to be present. So I really find him fascinating. And like I said, in the media, where he compares himself to Tupac, and how he wishes Jada looked at him as she did with Tupac and stuff like that. I saw that on Instagram a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I really want to know more about him. Like, he's had a great tour with this book, and you know, a lot of people have been on the panel asking him questions, like Queen Latifah, Spike Lee, and there's a few other people. So I do plan on reading Will as a buddy read. I'm not sure when we're going to be reading this. I still have to get in contact with my sister, and we can go on with the dates and stuff to meet up and discuss about the book, or take our time reading it, because there's probably a lot to digest as we get into the pages of his book. But yeah, so that is the last book, hopefully, that I do plan to read in December. But that is it. Hopefully that is my December's reading plans. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you are reading any of these books this month, let me know. I know when I be reading Will, I will be also setting up a Discord, because there are some people that wanted to buddy read with me as well when I did a poll on Instagram. So I will be creating that Discord soon. But yeah, let me know if you read these books already. What are your thoughts about them? Just let me know down in the comments below. Maybe we can have a discussion. Maybe, you know, give me a little bit of a warning if there's something that you think I wouldn't like. Just let me know. But that is it. Like I said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.